Buffalo is going to win it home.
Kick your heels up and shout.
Let's see why the Buffalo Bills are en route to the playoffs.
Come on now, the Bills are making it happen now. Stand up now, come on and shout.
Buffalo Bills go undefeated. And we're going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Now, baby, come on, come on.
No one
Come on
circles the
and
wagon
shout.
like the Buffalo Bills.
All right, we are live, and we are back. Welcome to another episode of the Overdue Bills podcast, and we are truly excited for the show that we have in store for everybody. This is our post-draft show. We had a pre-draft show, a lot of things talked about, and I guess we'll see if a lot of things came in fruition, maybe not, but that's something that we're going to talk about on the show today. But we're excited today, and let me introduce the guys here today. We have my guy, your guy, Matt, aka Matty Ice. Matt, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. You know, the weather's breaking, so you know it's starting to get a little bit better. So I'm just happy to be here, happy to pod, happy to do the thing.
Wonderful. Rad, how you doing? Looking a little sporty today.
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. I'm happy to be a Buffalonian. You know what I mean? I'm doing my thing. I feel like it's the energy Brandon Bean set. We're going to talk about it. It's going to be a good year, man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm ready to talk. Let's go.
Absolutely. And we've been trying to kind of get this to work out for a while now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let Rad introduce our guest for today.
Oh man, this is the guy who this is platform, man. Buffalo fan base, co-founder of Bills Mafia, also 26 shirts presented by 26 shirts, none other than Del Reed, man. I wish we had some round of applause.
All right.
Yes,
thank you.
Don't forget 2023 NFL Fan of the Year. You're leaving out some accolades, right? Come on now.
Yes. It's a long
put the resume out there.
I had a question about that, but for sure, man. But thank you for coming on. How are you, man? Thank you.
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm just looking forward to talking a little bit of draft with you guys tonight and exposing how much I don't know.
We are. I mean, we'll talk to Preach. You got a little inside information. Let Preach take that away. We'll see.
I do have a little insight, but anyway, we're gonna talk about that. We definitely appreciate Reed for being on. Definitely excited today. And as we start every show, we appreciate the collab with Buffalo fan base presented by 26 shirts. Definitely appreciate that. And also, we ask everybody to go to overduebillspod.com, overduebillspod.com. That's where you can find all of our content, all of our merch, all of those amazing things. But Matt, before we get into the show, please let the people know who is our presenting sponsor of this show.
Yes, sir. This show and every other show is brought to you by the good people at AOG Cigar Lounge. AOG Cigar Lounge, located at 3495 Delaware Avenue in Buffalo, New York. The best cigar lounge in town. Stop down to AOG Cigar Lounge, and they have your favorite cigars also paired with your favorite drinks. They have bucket specials, flight specials. You can go in, catch a game, catch up with friends, get some work done during the day. AOG Cigar Lounge, check them out. They're best spot in town, hands down. And I want to talk about a special event they have coming up. Here at the Overdue Bills podcast, we are big on giving back, and so are the guys over at the AOG Cigar Lounge. So May 31st, mark your calendars. They have the second annual Cars and Cigars, second annual car show fundraiser. There's going to be some really cool cars down there, but most importantly, it's going to be a really good event. Sanj Patel, really big name in the cigar world. He'll be there with his cigars. It's a $100 entry. It includes 5 Sanj Patel cigars, free food and alcohol from 4 to 8. But most importantly, all the proceeds go to the Big Brother, Big Sister Foundation. All proceeds from that event. There'll be a lot of giveaways, a lot of really cool cars. I was there last year. There was some really cool cars that I didn't even think that were in Buffalo. So definitely go give that a check out. And they're working on some more special guests to be named later to check those out. Also, if you're a veteran, they're doing free haircuts for veterans down there. They're going to have bands.
Get lined up.
It's going to be a very good event. So definitely mark your calendars for that.
Absolutely. Shout out to our presenting sponsor. We definitely appreciate them. We ask you to like, share, rate, and review, subscribe, do all those amazing things so we can get the word out. All right, let's get into this show. All right, we're going to get into the show. We're not going to be here all day. We do want to touch base on some things. It was a lot of things in the news. It's funny because Brandon Bean gave us some fodder to talk about. Normally, he does not give us fodder, but he definitely gave us some fodder to talk about, and we have to touch base upon it. But before we do that, we start every show with a quick question of the day. Quick question of the day. And since it's our post-draft show, I want to ask some trivia. Our guest, Del Reed, he said that, he doesn't necessarily have all the knowledge in the world, but I think he does. I think he's playing possum. I think he's playing possum. So let me ask you guys this. All right. Quick question of the day. Bills trivia. Which current Bills player was once a day 3 draft pick, but became a Pro Bowler? He was a day 3 draft pick, but he's a Pro Bowler. He became a Pro Bowler. He is a current player right now.
So what's that, 5th, 6th, 7th?
Yeah, it's
4th as well.
Oh, 4th.
Yeah,
okay.
4th or 7th. Yeah.
we want to let the guests go first. I feel like this is usually you stump us. I think this might be. I think we might all get one on this one. I don't know. I could be wrong though.
Well, we'll find out.
You go first, Matt. You so confident.
Yeah.
Right now, Matt Milano is the one that speaks out to me first. I mean, he's an All-Pro, his 5th rounder, so I'll go with that. Little
Taron Johnson make a Pro Bowl? And
he might not have made a Pro Bowl. He might have, because I know he was a
third or All-Pro. When was he picked?
We have Taron Johnson and we have Matt Milano, correct? Right, let you go. That's how games go, y'all. I don't want to discuss it anymore. No. Rat, who do you think? I have Matt Milano. We have Taron Johnson.
I mean, Matt Milano was my first thing I thought of too. I mean, honestly, that's the first thing I thought of. So I gotta go Matt Milano. Maybe offensive lineman. I don't know. Matt Milano.
Okay. All right, we have 2 right answers. There is 2 right answers. Taron Johnson was drafted in the 4th round, and he was All-Pro as well as a nickel corner. And Matt Milano, obviously, he was drafted in the 5th round, and he was first-team All-Pro in 2022. And actually, the other person, when you said alignment, Deion Dawkins was a 2nd-round draft pick, so he wasn't a day 3, but he also was earning Pro Bowl honor.
Okay.
So those are the kind of 3 that was kind of up there. But yes.
Okay.
Nice.
That's good.
I love Taron Johnson. Love that dude.
Right.
My guy. I mean, you know what I mean? That's my guy right there, Taron Johnson.
They say, when you talk about, something that you care about, you start with love first. So that was a love thing. We can love on Taron Johnson. We can love on Matt Milano. But in all seriousness, obviously a huge event happened with the draft, and it's something that we all look forward to. And it's funny because I'll frame it this way, right? I sent you that clip, and I kind of want to start with that because that kind of sets the tone for everything. And what I mean by that is, we as Bills fans, we've come with the moniker "in being we trust," right? As it relates to the draft. Generally, that's what people say. He has a decent to really good track record as it relates to GMs in drafts. We know that it's not a perfect science. Bill Belichick drafted 100 receivers. They all suck. Clearly, he won 6 Super Bowls. No, I'm just being honest. Like, he had to know something, but he could never draft a receiver, right? So, like, it's not an exact science. It's up in the air. But when we look at being like we have Josh Allen, we have, Matt Milano, we have Taron Johnson, so on and so forth. We can keep going. The list goes on where he drafted amazing players, stalwarts in our franchise. But I guess my question is, I want to ask you, Del Reed, because president of fan clubs, like your name is out there. This is a serious question. Do you think Bills fans, right? Because we're a little bit younger, we didn't experience the 4 Super Bowls, but obviously we've experienced amazing success, right? Amazing success, playoff games, the whole 9, like amazing success. But do you think Bills fans are too hard? Are they too harsh? Is it a situation where we're not living in the moment and we're just not being grateful for a McDermott and a Brandon Bean who took our franchise from literally nothing to something, right? Like we're talked about on every publication. We have MVP quarterback, so on and so forth. Because we're gonna play a clip in a second where Brandon Bean loses is cool. But let me just ask you that question.
I don't know. I think it's different for everybody. I mean, having gone through the Super Bowl years and then the drought, and now where we are now, I mean, every year the playoff loss, whether it's the divisional round or the conference championship. It's hard, man. It is hard. And that first couple days, especially, like, you are just down. But I try to remember to, in all areas of life, not even just my football fandom, but in all areas of life, I try to remember, be present, enjoy what you're having out. Dude, don't tell me you couldn't, like, just grab any Bills fan out of, like, 2007 and say, hey, do you want to have a team that does really well in the playoffs every year and maybe doesn't make it to the Super Bowl? Like,
Right.
we all sign up for that. Now
For
we're
sure.
here. Now we're all like, no, I want to go to the Super Bowl. Understandably. But, yeah, it's tough. It's tough because you want the greatest success and you don't always want to judge your franchise based on a team that was coached by Dick Duran and Mike Mularkey. Like, it's two different things, right? We're a different era, different ownership, top to bottom. But yeah, I do think sometimes, and myself included, we get pretty spoiled sometimes, but it's good to have perspective. And I don't want to have moral victories. I want to have Super Bowl trophies, but we have it a lot better than, say, I don't know, Browns fans, right? So.
To say the least. I think that I wanted to ask that question.
You said that. Here go fans. Shout out to Swanson. Yeah. He just said, like, this is what we talking about. Bean has way more hits than misses, which is just not true. But I mean, he has more hits. I thought he said the opposite. My bad. I'm about to say, hold on, man. Like, I thought it was the opposite. So you're right, Swanson. You're right.
Yeah. So I want to let's play the clip. Let's play the clip before we're gonna talk about some picks. I do want to play the clip to hear it because Bean had a lot to say on the radar. This came out of nowhere. I was actually kind of giddy. I was like, all right, Bean.
I was just listening to the last few minutes of your show before I came on, waiting on here.
All right.
Sounds like 2018 all over with you guys.
Well, how so?
Well, you guys were bitching in 2018 about Josh Allen. You guys wanted Josh Rosen, and now you guys are bitching that we don't have a receiver. I don't get it. Like, we just hold on, let me talk. We just scored 30 points in a row for 8 straight games. A year ago, I get you guys asking why we didn't have receivers, but I don't understand it now. You just saw us lead the league in points when you add all the postseason. No one scored more points than the Buffalo Bills, including the Super Bowl champions. So you just saw us do it without Stephon Diggs, same group. How is this group not better than last year's group? Our job is to score points and win games. Where do we need to get better? Defense. We did that. So I get it. You got to have a show and you got to have something to bitch about, but bitching about wide receiver is one of the dumbest arguments I've heard.
Okay. I mean, I wish you'd listened to the 2 hours and 25 minutes before that, because there's plenty of things we do like about your draft, and I find it curious the energy you're coming at us with, but I mean that's your choice.
I get it. I'm just like, let's be realistic. Our job is not to have. It's not fantasy football, like to trot out the best receivers. You got Josh Allen. First thing you got to do is protect him. You can't have everything. You can't have Pro Bowl wide receivers and have a Pro Bowl offensive line and an All-Pro quarterback and 3 great running backs. Like, you gotta pick. Sure, I'd love to play fantasy football, but there's one football, Jeremy. There's one ball. You can't give it to but so many people. So that's where I'm like, I don't understand this narrative. I felt it a little bit from a couple of the reporters and the thing. Like, our job is to score points. It doesn't matter what receivers, what quarterback, what. If you score points at the level we scored, that is when.
Listen, it was a
lot. He was ticked off.
Matt, how do you feel about that?
I'm with you. I was I was really happy to see that fire, but also too, I mean, I know I talked about it last week. He kind of foreshadowed this. He mentioned, before the draft, hey, it wasn't our offense that couldn't score, that didn't beat Kansas City. It was a defensive unit that gave up the most points to a team that hadn't scored that much all season long. So he talked about he was definitely gonna get as many defensive guys as he could to help us out. So I am happy that he responded that way, and he's saying what a lot of people were thinking, I guess.
Interesting, Rad. I know. Darrell Reed spoke about, it's kind of a tweener. It's sometimes it is like, yeah, We appreciate you brought us out of darkness into the marvelous light, but also we want to win a Super Bowl. Like, we have the quarterback, like we have X, Y, and Z. We still want to win a Super Bowl. So how do you feel about Brandon Beane? Shout out to WGRE. We definitely appreciate them. But how do you feel about Beane coming at them and really using them as surrogates to really talk to the fan base? That, I mean, it's not so much directed to them as much, because everybody's saying the same. Not everybody, but most of us said, what is he doing? We need a wide receiver. We need a wide receiver. We've been saying that since Stephon Diggs left. But Rat, how do you feel about our GM kind of fighting back?
I mean, I respect it, right? I understand as fans, we want to win, but we also want to be sexy. We want to be sexy, right? We see the AJ Browns, the Philly with AJ Brown. We see this the Bengals with Chase Higgins. I mean, the Chiefs, they got Worthy, but they got Kelsey still, So a lot of those teams that we, the Justin Jefferson of the world, that's the sexy, and we all play fantasy football, so we want a stud receiver. We know how important that is to have a stud receiver on your team. So I understand fans. And we had Stephon Diggs, and that's what brought us out of, before that it was a help. It was a help. It brought us to another level. We was a playoff team, and then we became a contender when we added Josh Allen, obviously, and then Stephon Diggs. So I understand.
Can I say one thing? We got rid of Stephon Diggs literally at the right time. And I'm not just saying on the field stuff. I'm saying I don't know what's happening off the field, but you can continue.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? He got
shout out to Stephon Diggs.
He got aura. He got aura. Shout out to Stephon Diggs. But I respect Beane, but I would say this. I would say what I would say. It is a little. It's clearly it has an effect on him.
Yeah.
Because he we don't have a one receiver, and our a 2A, 2B, maybe 3 on the other team. So it probably is affecting that. Maybe this is the role he chose, and that's going to be a glaring, not a need, but a glaring spot where the fans can criticize him at, that we don't have an A1 receiver. And it just showed a little bit, but I respect him. I'm just let everybody know, hey, we was the second leading team in scoring, and we improved on that side of the ball, even without Diggs. So I respect it.
Okay, so let's do this. We could talk about the Beane lashing for a while, but he did draft some players, 5 defensive players. And
you don't want to hear their opinion on the subject?
I thought we heard it. I mean, but okay. If you want to talk about it, you can talk about it, Del Reed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised. Like, that's how kind of he came in hot. I don't think Jeremy and Joe were quite like ready for as Jeremy said, like that energy, right? But but yeah, I mean, my buddy Joe Pinzone at Buffalo Wins on Twitter, he and I have had this long text thread going back a year and a half, 2 years, just talking about the offensive doom, and that's how all we want was to surround Josh Allen with all the offensive talent. And I think I even tweeted it a couple of times, like, build an offense that scores 50 points and make the other team score 51. But I tell you what, though, after this past year, seeing, as Mr. Beane said, the highest scoring team through the playoffs and everything, and seeing that, and then still seeing the defense fail, in critical moments and stuff like that, or, not perform like we would like. I get it. And I mean, you listen to every Bills podcast leading up to this draft, all I heard was defensive tackle and corner.
That's all I heard.
They went ham in the draft on defensive tackle and corner. So I'm fine with it. And now, what's funny, though, and I think Nate Geary pointed this out, like, as soon as this happens yesterday morning, all of a sudden it's on Twitter, Elijah Moore is in for a visit with the Bills.
I know, that was funny. I thought it was fake. I thought it was like Centel, NBA Centel, or something. I'm like, this ain't real. I'm like, oh, Elijah Moore. Okay.
It's like I don't know if it was an epic rant or an epic troll or what was going on, but credit to Beane. I thought that was kind of funny. He listen, I know we need a receiver. I don't want to hear about it. Also, I'm bringing in a wide receiver.
Yeah, I got one coming today. All right, jeez.
But he didn't give them that, so good for him. He's like, I'm not sharing that with you. So good for him.
I think Beane has earned the cachet to do this, right? He's solidified. We're not getting rid of him. He's a top 5 GM in football, bar none. And Sean McDermott is a top 5 coach in football, bar none. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it would be silly to kind of go the other way. I've said a lot on this platform, and I stand by everything that I've said. of course. But at the same time, I mean, I'm just being honest. Being realistic is being realistic. And I think he jazzed it up. It's something to talk about. It's fodder. It's really podcast fodder. It's radio fodder. Doesn't really have to go further than that. But he was honest about what he did. And obviously, we went quarterback heavy in defensive line heavy. And even on this platform, I said it. Listen, people say that I don't have connection to the Bills. People say that I do. But what is to be said is before the draft, I said Maxwell Harrison first round. I laid out why we should get him. And for whatever reason, Bean did what I told him to do. Listen, I don't know. Everybody else said anything else. But I know what I said. And I talked to Bean, you know what I mean, in a private closet. I don't know. But honestly, let me ask y'all this. As it relates to the draft picks, right? We can go individual if you want to, but just in a broadened sense, do you think we hit the needs that we needed to hit, right? Being talked about it. You know where his mindset was at. Our defense was awful, right? We could talk about Kyer Elam. Shout out to him. You know what I'm saying? We could talk about our defensive line, meh. You know what I'm saying? We talked about it to the cows come on. Von Miller just wasn't that guy, so on and so forth, right? So I'm going to go to our guest, Del Reed. As it relates to who we pick, do you think we did a good job at, like, going after upside? You know what I mean? As it relates to the pundits, right? Because obviously we're trying to win a Super Bowl. And at the end of the day, do draft picks matter? Yes. Do they matter that year that they come? Maybe. It's a toss-up. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they'll play. Maybe they won't play. But do you think Bean did a good job going after upside and going after people that if it hit, it hits? Or they're like, they could be today rotational players. Throw them in there. We're going to get some production out of them. Do you think he did a good job at that at least?
I think so. I'll be straight with you guys. Like, I'm not a huge college football fan, or not. I mean, not fan. I don't have time in my life to start consuming all that content. So I normally learn about all these names and stuff like the couple weeks leading up to the draft, and then I'm so into it. Like last year, they don't get Jack Campbell or whatever. I'm like, oh man! And then I see him playing for the Lions, and I'm like, oh yeah, was that this year or was that? How do I know that name? So like, this is all like real short term, information that I cram in. So I always look more at the guys at the draft, not their names, but what position do they play? What's their size? Stuff like that. How they perform at the combine. Joe Marino on his podcast always talks about the RAS score and everything. Like how athletic are they and everything. So. I thought it was interesting though with the Sanders pick that they picked somebody that was a smaller guy, kind of like the Ed Oliver mold, but then they outdid themselves and then did the Deion Walker one a couple rounds later. So I thought it was good. I mean, they drafted 3 corners, 2 defensive tackles, so and Landon Jackson. So I like. I mean, it is nice. I mean, maybe. If he, we don't all get to listen to the radio every morning. So like, if he has like a normal conversation, like with Jeremy and Joe yesterday, maybe we don't really pick up on the nuances. So I'm kind of glad. Like, and I feel like maybe Jeremy and Joe got a little bit of the heat. Like, someone just said a moment ago, like they're kind of like the proxy for all the fans that are complaining about wide receiver stuff. But I mean, we all got the insight into Bean's strategy now. Like, you normally don't get that. Normally, it's like. Months later, you're like, oh, he was kind of, I could tell he was like, look, our defense, we got a great offense. We got to get some dogs on defense. So, I like that. I thought it was good. And we'll see, these later round guys, we'll see how many are able to make the team. I mean, that's the one thing with, I used to get so excited about UDFAs like 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Like, they got this guy, Keith Pugh, or no disrespect to him. Shout out to him. He's a great dude. I met a bunch, but like, they got all these names like Derek Rogers and all these guys. Like, oh my gosh, we got him as a UDFA. And now it's like I
want us to pick up Kobe Bryant. He did get drafted out of Kansas. I'm like, let's pick up Kobe Bryant. Another cornerback, but whatever. But I understand what you're saying.
He's got a cool name. He's got a cool name, that's for sure.
Great name.
But so I don't know, man. I thought it was cool that we got to at least see his mindset through all of this.
For sure.
Past couple days.
So Matt, as it relates to our team, do you think that there's something that we didn't do in the draft that we should have done? Let me just ask you in that way.
I talked about it last week. A lot of the sleepers. I think it was a very it was like a day 3 very heavy wide receiver day 3. Like we could have got some quality guys in rounds 5 and 6 with the bulk of picks that we had. And I don't want to sound like, oh yeah, we got to get a receiver, but I do really think we could have gotten a quality guy in one of those rounds. One of the guys I talked about last week as a sleeper. There's a guy from Miami, Restrepo, who went to Tennessee went back.
Do you want me to play Brandon Bean? Do you want me to put the sound
no,
in right now, bro?
That's what I mean. But I'm not mad at what he got in those rounds either, though, because we got a guy. We got Chase Lunt, who, reading up on him, he didn't miss any games. He didn't give up any sacks. He kind of fits the mold of our offensive line right now. So a depth guy. You got Dorian Strong, who's a very good zone cornerback. You got Jackson Hawes, who's the best blocking tight end in the draft, and you got Jordan Hancock, who can play several positions in the secondary with the secondary that got injured a lot last year. So I'm not mad at it at all. But I would have liked the guy late. I didn't want a sexy home
Shakir
first, second
type
round
play.
guy. Yeah, exactly. And I thought we could have gotten one of those guys, but I'm absolutely not mad with who we got, because we do have guys. We have pieces that I think can come in and compete for the team, and if they do make it, then they'll be good additions for our squad.
Okay, so let me ask you this, rack it in so we can go around table because we're getting ready to get off. But we understand the draft, right? And for me, how I look at it is the draft generally takes care of itself, right? We don't. It's a crapshoot. Hopefully these guys hit. Hopefully they can give us some production. I like Bean. He went upside, especially on the Maxwell Harrison. He has a not a huge frame, but he's a playmaker. Let's see. You know what I mean? Let's just see what happens. Who knows, right? But I do want to ask a question. We talked about Elijah Moore, but I also heard Keenan Allen was his name was mentioned for our right receiver room, right? And Bean kind of went at everybody. We scored 30 points, y'all, like 30 consecutive. Like, what are we talking about here?
Mm-hmm.
But listen, we all love right receiver, whatever it is. Like, we love it. So let's hear our thoughts on that. Is a Keenan Allen something like are we okay with that?
No, I don't think
Oh, wow, that was
I like Shakir.
right?
No, I like Shakir. I think Shakir can do. I mean, he's not Keenan Allen. But I think Shakir can do a lot of things Keenan Allen do today. Keenan Allen, like 37-year-old Keenan Allen, whatever, 36, however it is. And I think it's more so a vote of confidence for Keon Coleman, right?
Yeah.
We brought in Palmer. We got Keon Coleman, Kincaid, year 3, tight end. Come on, let's go. I think it's more so of, I just drafted a second-round wide receiver last year. Let's see what he got. Right. So I think it's more so a vote of confidence for him. I think he definitely feel more confident. Hey, no wide receiver was drafted. So, they rolling with me. I'm definitely the number 2, number 3 guy in here. So I think that was good. I think Palmer is going to be in the offense a lot. I think Shakir is, we signed him. He's going to be great for us. And obviously in Kincaid needs to step up, period. And James Cook, once we got James Cook 16 touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? So like the offense isn't an issue. I said that, in our pre-draft pod. I was like, the offense really not the issue. You know what I mean? We got dogs, we got speed. If anything, we wanted more speed, but we got speed on the defense now. I hear them, 4.29, fast as hell. So I think adding another wide receiver like a Keenan Allen that, only coming to a team to play, to start. I don't think he coming to mentor people. So I think it's definitely not something we should do. I think giving Keon Coleman, Shakir, Kincaid, all the reps, all the receptions, all the targets is something that we're gonna continue to do, and definitely homegrown. What I'm saying, we have our guys become Pro Bowlers on the defensive side. I think Bean and our whole organization have done a good job of molding guys and making them into Pro Bowl, all pro type talent. And I think we can do that with Keon Coleman, Shakir, Kincaid.
Okay, so let me ask this. I'm going to ask Matt and Del Reed. Let's do this for the fans. Let's get some fodder out there. Mr. Del Reed, what's the weakest either side of the ball or weakest positional group you think we have going into this season? As it stands right now, let's just be honest.
Look at the draft.
We start with love. We love everybody. I'm just saying, as it relates to what is the weakest positional group going into this season, or how do you feel about that? You can say whoever you want. You can name a specific person if that's what you want to do.
Quarterback, absolutely. They only got one guy I trust in that.
We should have drafted Shador, right? We should have drafted him.
No, I don't know about that.
No, I don't know. Probably, maybe just like the defensive tackle position was thin, and also like somebody mentioned a few moments ago, the secondary is pretty beat up last year. And so I think those were like my two main concerns were, the defensive tackles and the corners. So, I mean, now after the draft, I mean, I don't want to say anything's been improved because, no disrespect to Kyer Elam, but like he was a first round pick they brought in and son of an NFL player and all that stuff. He had a great pedigree. It didn't, work out. So hopefully Harrison is great. Hopefully, Walker and the rest of the draft picks they all work out, right? But you don't know. So until they show it, like but I will say real quick, you guys mentioned Keon a moment ago. He was on a podcast recently, and he talked about how it was really coming back from the injury was, it was tough to get worked back in because stuff's working with the offense and all that. So I'm really excited to see him this year. And Palmer, his separation, that's why they like him so much, I think, is he has like the best separation in that room now. But anyways, you're not asking me about that. So I guess I would say defensive tackle, corner. I want to see how those position groups are able to grow this year with, what they brought in.
And I know you mentioned corner, but I think McDermott whole he don't play rookies. That whole he don't like rookies. That was this whole stick, and it was hard for Elam and stuff. I think they both learned from that. I'm not gonna say Harrison just gonna be given the job, but I think he's gonna play earlier, quicker, and get more reps. I think they can learn from Elam. Maybe he just wasn't the right player, but I still think Harrison is going to be on the field early and often, more so than Elam was. Not this whole super earn it type of deal. I think they're going to play. I think they're going to play Harrison more sooner, and I think McDermott going to learn from, I guess, whatever mistake he felt maybe it was on him with the Elam. I think
I'll say this: what happened with Kyer Elam was Christian Benford. It wasn't. That's what happened. We didn't know.
There's a little bit of Kyer Elam too, though.
Oh, I mean, let's be very clear. Let's be very clear. And I'm trying.
I hear you.
Politically correct, but y'all know how I feel about
no
Kyer
shade.
Elam.
He probably just need to change the scenery. Watch.
Yeah, maybe.
I hope he's amazing in Dallas. Shout out to him. Shout out to his family. But it was a lot of him, and Benford just showed up, and he got the starting spot. And honestly, some people have saying Dorian Strong and Maxwell Harrison. We don't know. I mean, we don't know. Things like that happen all the time. People have been saying that he's more of a fit for us. He's more of a zone corner, so on and so forth. I mean, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So, but we'll see. But Matt, let me get your answer on that, so we can kind of put a butt hook on it. Who do you think the weakest part of our team going into this season?
I think due to injuries, I think the safety room is the weakest, and we got guys that. Taylor Rapp is a heat-seeking missile who has he's a concussion waiting to happen, and then you got Cole Bishop, who's a question mark still. DeMar Hamlin, who he's out there, he's playing, but it's definitely that's the group right there. That's the group right there that I think that so maybe one of these guys could step into one of those roles, or you got a Cam Lewis out there who could step in, maybe slide over, or that again you talked about stepping up. This is a year maybe Cole Bishop has to make that leap, or Rapp has to kind of tone down, hitting our guys and things like that. So that's my weakest group for sure. And then I'm going to piggyback on Dell too with Keon. Josh Allen talked about him last week. He said that he got he gained some muscle and he really is looking to make the step. So Josh, that's the guy that Josh is really excited to get into work, get a full off season and get ready to roll with him. So more to be seen on that.
For me, I haven't heard a lot about special teams this offseason. I thought our special teams were awful last year.
Laviska Shenault.
Well, say what you want to say. I thought our special
forgot about that. Yeah,
Laviska Shenault.
That's true. All right.
He can return kicks. He's definitely returning kicks.
Okay, let's do anything.
Bring him for?
All right, let's do anything. No. But listen,
we still got Curtis Samuel hanging out too, who towards the end of the year he made a little bit of a leap. So hopefully that carries into.
Yeah. So Bean definitely wasn't drafting him receivers.
No,
It's just too
I'm
many
not.
over there. We
Right.
have too many.
Yeah, right. I'm just saying special teams was really bad last year. That's all I'm saying. Like I'm not saying it's a specific player as much as it is attention to detail. That's all I'm saying. I didn't like our special teams at all. At all. Every level. Punting, kicking, like field goal. It was just bad all the way
had a tough year.
around. Just like even our blocking sometimes. It was just bad. It was not good. And hopefully Bean can show more attention to detail to that. That's all I'm saying. So shout out to listen, we love the Bills. I mean, at the end of the day, we love the Bills. We support the Bills wholeheartedly. We want the Bills to do amazing. And that's why we're here to root them on and let them know, if something is not right, we're here. We're going to hold you accountable. But we appreciate our special guest there.
I just got like
question. Okay,
just like a fun, question.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, so what was one of your Dale, what was one of your craziest fan moments? Like, far as being, do you have a crazy fan moment for yourself or a fan that you've seen, you jumping tables, I don't know, in the airport, something? What's the craziest fan moment you experienced?
I mean, like for me as a fan, like the craziest thing I've experienced or the coolest thing I've experienced?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, like this past week,
oh man,
I got the NFL Films called me. And they're like, hey, Peyton Manning is filming a skit in Buffalo next week, and we want you to be a part of it. So it's hard to top that because I have such a fan crush on Peyton Manning. Like, so long during the drought, he was like, I think every Bills fan by proxy was a Colts fan at least a few times a year when they would play the Patriots.
100%.
So I lived through those, and I won a couple championships with him in fantasy football. So like being able to meet him was really cool. But in terms of Bills fandom, just having gotten to know some players like Thurman Thomas and Andre Reed, like old man like myself, like these are guys that like I grew up like idolizing in high school and everything. So I've been blessed with some really cool opportunities. But yeah, I mean I could go on forever, but like I think those are probably the top ones that come to mind.
Oh wow! So I mean, you probably can't spill all the beans. It's a commercial in Buffalo. Is coming out soon, or do you know? Did they tell you some info about that?
Yeah, it's not a commercial. It was done with by Omaha Productions. They work with NFL Films, so it's some skit that Peyton Manning will do either on ESPN or somewhere later this year.
Oh man, that's fire!
Yeah, it's cool. I got to hang out with the chefs and Elvis and
We got the chefs on.
Yeah, we have those guys on.
Yeah,
we know we've known D Norm for years. We played high school football.
I did a lot of work with him on this thing. The two
that's awesome.
Yep, those are our guys, man, for sure.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Fan of the year, both of y'all fan of the year.
Yeah, back to back.
Of course.
It's awesome, man. Yep.
Of course.
Yeah,
of course.
He's good people. He's good people. They're both him and his buddy.
Yep. Shout out Norman Paul. We definitely appreciate you for being on. Great show. Shout out to everybody in the comments. We appreciate you. Listen, let me just say this. Our co-host Mike, prayers out to him. Experienced death in the family. His mother passed away. Yeah, Mama D. We definitely we love you, Mike. We're here with you. Prayers to you. And we appreciate everybody that came on. And listen, just be on the lookout. We're gonna ramp up as the season progresses. And Matt, do you have anything to say?
No, I mean, just same thing. Check out our guys at AOG, and be on the lookout for shows coming up, because we will have some off-season stuff in the works. We got some more interviews, hopefully some player interviews, things like that we're working on right now. So be on the lookout for that.
And of course, thank you again, Del Reed, for coming on. Shout out to Buffalo fan base for giving us a home, man. This has been dope. We experienced nothing but growth ever since we joined the show. So thank you once again.
Yeah, I'm glad we could connect. I appreciate the invite. Thank you.
Absolutely, man.
Y'all know how we end every show with a little bit of that. Hey.
Only Buffalo is gonna win it, folks.
Kick your heels up and shout.
We'll see why the Buffalo Bills are en route to the playoffs.
Come on now, the Bills are making it happen now. Stand up now, come on and shout.
Buffalo Bills go undefeated. And we're going to the Super Bowl.
Now, baby, come on.